How y'all doing? Welcome to the Tea Factory podcast. How is everybody doing? It has been a while since I have came on here and did a video and um, did a commentary and talked to y'all. So I'm happy to be back. I don't know. I just took a little break, but I'm happy to be back. Hopefully, I'll be posting more. Try to post on a daily basis. Um, there is so much going on out there. I mean, this world isn't, especially in the United States. For those of us who live in America, it's the country is in shambles, honey. Okay, there's so much going on. But um, today, I wanted to talk about the story about Chris Brown. Chris Brown deactivated his Instagram page, and he says that you know, he's taking a break from social media, and that he is tired of people. Um, Says Chris Brown deactivated his Instagram account. He says, "Y'all can miss me with that colorist rage." And so he's pissed off. He's mad right now. He doesn't want to deal with the public. Um, so I thought I would do a story about that because I seen a TikTok video of this sister. She was saying how it was at an after party after one of his concerts. I can't remember the city. And she was saying that, they were trying to get to Chris Brown's section, and his handlers, was his managers, or they were giving them the runaround, and they were young, beautiful black girls, and they are accusing Chris Brown of being a colorist. So we're gonna deep down into that, explore that, talk about that today, and everything I say is in my opinion. It's all alleged. We're just giving commentary and just trying to see if there's not even a definite way to answer and say yes, Chris Brown is a colorist, or no, he's not. Like, no one can answer that question indefinitely but him, but Chris Breezy. He's the only one that can answer that question. The only thing we can do is look at his history, his track records, and what some people have, with some women who have tried to, get into sections and stuff like that, what they have said and their experiences. But, personally, I feel like he could be a colorist because given his track record, but then, that would just be my opinion, So, okay, so let's get started. So first, Chris Brown is an R&B singer. He is from a small town in Virginia, and it's called Tappahannock. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm probably mispronouncing it, but Tappahannock, Virginia, is kind of like outside of Richmond, Virginia. It's like around the D.C. area. So, but it's closer to Richmond, Virginia. And Richmond is the capital of Virginia, and then and I think the other big city that it's close to is Franklinburg, and then after that you end up coming into this D.C. suburb area. So that's where he's from. But the town that he's from, Tappahannock, is a small town in Virginia. So his dad is black and his mom is white. And the crazy part about it is I didn't. First of all, I I like Chris Brown. I am a fan of his music. I've always been a fan of his music. You know, there's a few songs that are just near and dear to my heart that I love his music. So I want to put that out there first. I I always thought of Chris Brown as just a light skinned brother. That I never thought of him as being mixed, even though he looks mixed. But I don't know, and so it was like a few years ago I found out that his mom was white and his dad is black. So he's a mixed, person. So, but when we go into this colorism conversation, it goes back to basically, the slavery time. So we're going to do some research. So let's answer. So, what is colorism? Colorism is the practice of favoring a lighter skin over a dark skin. It's a deeply rooted issue seen across different racial and ethical backgrounds. It's not just about having a preference for lighter skin tones, it's woven into many aspects of our lives, including history, beauty standards, and economic opportunities. So there's colorism in, African communities. There's colorism in African American communities. There's colorism in white communities, in Indians and Asians. Like everybody has, every nationality has colorism within their community. Because basically, you know, um, I don't see how a white community could have colorism because they're all white, but I guess they could be different shades of whiteness. But in the black community, black and African community, it is very, you got light skinned people in the dark skin. So if you are a colorist and you are prejudiced towards a dark skinned person, obviously that makes you a colorist. So by him being um, half, by him being light skinned, by him being of mixed nationalities, I don't like to use the word race because we are one race. So I'm not going to say it's a white race, a black race, or Indian race, or Asian race. There's only one race, and that's the human race. So we are all one race. It's just different nationalities and different communities. That's how I feel. That's how I look at it, in my opinion. So by him being of black and white nationality, um, he probably is, and so we're gonna. What I have noticed about him is I've never seen him with a dark skinned black woman. The darkest black person, female that he's dated publicly that we all know of is Rihanna. And Rihanna, she's from Barbados, and she's fair. She's not light skinned, she's not dark, but she's in the middle. So that's the darkest person that we've all seen him with. And then the second person was Karichi, but Karichi is half Asian and half black. And then we also know that he has three children, and the mother of his first child, she is, I believe, Hispanic. I think she's Mexican. She's Hispanic, and then the other two children, their mothers is half Asian and half black. So we know that's what he likes. He likes women who are mixed with Asian and black. He likes that Asian persuasion. Okay, so and that could be a preference. That's what he likes and that's what he prefers, and he has every right to like what he likes and prefer what he prefers. That's fine. However, the issue comes into play is by him being a superstar, a mega star, a world renowned star, where people compare him to Michael Jackson, and some people say Chris Brown is the greatest entertainer of all time. My personal opinion, I don't feel that. I feel like Michael Jackson is, but to some people, Chris Brown is equivalent to um, Michael Jackson. And I feel that when it comes to his little skits and things that he does, or the videos or the video chicks that he has, he should be more inclusive, have more darker skinned um, women to showcase. Because there's a lot of chocolate beautiful women. I mean, all women are beautiful, and so for him to make um, black women feel excluded in his videos, or the girls that he brings on stage, or the girls that he has in his sections, I can see how that could display or showcase as being a colorist. So whether he's a colorist or not, like I said at the beginning, we can't definitely, indefinitely say yes, he is. But he does give off colorist five. He does because, like I stated, the mother of his children, none of them are black women. Um, they're not even, um, you know, they're not even like full black women, but light skinned black women. They're, of different nationality, of different community. So his children only probably have like a quarter of black in them. So, and that's his preference, but, and then another thing is with him that I've noticed is that he had did this interview with the big boy um, from the big boy neighborhood, and he had they were getting him ready for like a game that that big boy does with his guests, and Chris Brown took his hat off, and big boy was like, "Oh, is that your hair, or do you have a perm?" And Chris Brown's like, "No, this is my hair. You didn't know my hair was like this. You didn't know, you never seen my hair curly." He was like, "I'm not all black, man." He's like, I'm half white. My mom is white, my dad is black." And it was just the way he said it. I don't know. It just gave off like, I don't know. And to me, I feel like people who are mixed typically would have probably said, "Yeah, oh yeah, my hair is such and such. Yeah, I'm mixed, whatever." But it's just the way he said it gave off this vibe, you know, that he thinks light skin is better, So I don't know. So I'm gonna play it for y'all so y'all can listen to it. But it just gave a vibe. But listen to this and see what y'all think.
All righty, all right. So put the blindfold on, and double blindfolded too. So double blindfold? Yeah, yeah, because he got that little dancing eye. We don't want to. Hey, would you put a perm in your hair? Huh? You put a perm in your hair? No, my hair's like this. Why your hair? You like straight? Yeah. You never see my hair? You never see my hair when it curls out? Man. Hey man, I'm not all the way black, bro. I'm halfway, man. Right on the cusp. Hey man, I'm right on the cusp, brother. Man. You caught that jealousy and that salt. I was just on that. You right now, that's the high school. That's that ninth grade. Yeah. Was that a pattern? All right. Hey man, he saw right through that hate. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, man, is it jealousy, envy, hate? What's going? Hold on, give me another blindfold on. All right. All right.
Yeah. So I don't know, and so he's like, "You never see my hair. I'm not all the way black." It's just right there when he said, "I'm not all the way black." The way he said it. I got that good hair. I'm mixed. I don't have to put a perm in my hair. I'm not all the way black. I got that good shit. You didn't know? I don't know. So is he a colorist? I can't say yes or no for sure, but um, but he does give that vibe. He does give that vibe. And those girls who went to the Breezy Bowl tour who've experienced colorism and couldn't get into sections, I believe them. I believe them 1,000%. And then it's crazy because his manager is Aunt Wilson, which is Monica's husband, because Monica's married now. And Anthony Wilson, a black man from Detroit, is his manager, and he's married to Monica, a black woman. So for Breezy to be, you know, um, mistreat those women. If they didn't want them in the section, they didn't want them in the section. That's fine. You can like who you like, you can love who you love, and you can have who you want to have in your section. But if they had the conversations of where that they were going to end up being in his section, or that was the understanding, and then once they get there, because they're not light enough, that they get discriminated against or felt some type of way, that's not cool. Then if that's the case, yeah, then we would have to say yes, Breezy is a colorist. But and like we said, we've never seen him date anybody darker than Rihanna. Rihanna was the darkest one that he's ever been with. So um, let me know what y'all think in the comments. Do you guys think Chris Brown is a colorist, or do you think it's just a matter of personal preference, or that could also be interpreted as being colorist? Because at the end of the day, he's still a black man. Um, you know, like colorism is rooted in racism, point blank period. And during slavery time, um, they would have the slave masters would rape and and that's where most of the intermixing and the light skinned um, people would originated from. And then you have the one drop rule. So let me read this part right here where it says the enslavement of Africans in America brought us the one drop rule, which impacts our definition and impressions of our varying shades. The one drop rule dates back to 1662 Virginia law. Again, Virginia, he's from Virginia. Virginia law that addresses mixed race people. It asserts that anyone with even one ancestor that is black is considered black. We're not, but we're not discussing his whether he's black or not. He is black. He's a black man. His father is black, so he's a black man. But it's a black man being prejudiced, colorist towards his black fans. And then they said that he brought that girl on stage in his last show in Los Angeles that used to date the NFL player Travis Kelce, his ex Kayla Nicole, and they did that steamy moment on stage. And a lot of people were saying he brought her on to cater to the accusation of him being a colorist because she's a chocolate girl, she's a brown girl, and so that's why he picked her and brought her on there to kind of to get us to shut up about him being a colorist. And some people fell for it and they enjoyed it and they took it as okay, yeah, okay, we see you're not a colorist, we see what you're doing. And then some people took it as the opposite, like, no, you are a colorist and that's why you brought her on there because you're trying to pacify us. So at the end of the day, he can't win for losing, but in his personal life, if he prefers women who are mixed with Asian and black, I guess that's his preference. And I guess for that, we can't really call him a colorist. That's just his personal preference. But being, but to discriminate against fans in his sections, if he only has light skinned women in his sections when he does these after parties at the clubs, then I would say yes, he's a colorist. Because why not have, you know, all shades, all different types of women in his section? But if his section is, city after city after city only has one type of women, then yes, I would call him a colorist. If that's what if that did happen and if that does happen, you know. And then yeah, so he deactivated his Instagram because he's mad at y'all for calling him a colorist. So we're gonna see what happens. I'm sure eventually he's gonna come back. He just needs some time away and it needs to die down. But y'all let me know what y'all think, how you feel. Do you think that Chris Brown is a colorist or he just, um, misunderstood? That's the word. Again, y'all please subscribe, like, and comment. Let me know what y'all think. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye.